Today, we're traveling across the United States to discover 10 American towns and communities with some of the strangest names you've ever heard. And number one might be the most unbelievable of them all. 10. Accident, Maryland. Let's start with a town that sounds like the last place you'd want to have a road trip. Accident, Maryland. Yes, that's actually the name. Accident is a small town in Garrett County, in western Maryland. But don't worry, despite the name, the town wasn't created because of a car crash or some terrible disaster. The story behind the name goes back to the 18th century. According to local history, two land surveyors were working in the area and ended up identifying overlapping claims involving the same piece of land. One surveyor reportedly said that the land had been located by accident. And somehow, that unusual word eventually became the name of the settlement. Today, if you're driving through Maryland and tell someone you're going to accident, they might assume you mean you've been involved in one. But no, you're literally going to accident. And the town even embraces its unusual name. 9. Normal, Illinois. Our next destination sounds completely ordinary because it's called Normal. Normal, Illinois is a real town located next to Bloomington. And ironically, its history is anything but normal. The town got its name because of an educational institution. In the 19th century, Illinois established a school for teacher education in the area. These schools were often called normal schools. Why? Because the goal was to establish educational standards or norms for teaching. The Illinois State Normal University was established there, and the community eventually became known as Normal. Today, Normal has tens of thousands of residents and is part of the Bloomington, Normal metropolitan area. Imagine telling someone, "Where do you live?" Normal. What's normal? Normal. Okay, but where? Normal, Illinois. It's a conversation that could get confusing very quickly. 8. Santa Claus, Indiana. Now, let's head to Indiana. And this time, we're going somewhere that sounds like it came straight out of a Christmas movie. Santa Claus, Indiana. Yes, the town's official name is Santa Claus. The community was originally called something else, but when residents tried to establish a post office, they discovered that another town already had the same name. So they needed a new one. According to the popular local story, residents gathered together on Christmas Eve to discuss possible names. And when they heard church bells ringing outside, someone suggested Santa Claus. The name stuck. Today, the town has fully embraced its Christmas identity. You'll find streets with names connected to Christmas, holiday attractions, and visitors coming specifically because they want to experience a place called Santa Claus. And yes, mail sent to Santa Claus, Indiana, has become part of the town's Christmas tradition. 7. Boring, Oregon. Now here's a town that sounds like it has absolutely no fun. Boring, Oregon. But here's the twist. Boring isn't actually boring. The community is located southeast of Portland and was named after William Harrison Boring, a Civil War veteran and early settler in the area. So the name has nothing to do with the town being dull. It's simply someone's surname. But the residents have definitely learned how to have fun with it. Boring has embraced its unusual name so much that it has developed connections with other places around the world that have similarly unusual names. The community even became known for its relationship with Dull, Scotland, creating a tongue-in-cheek, boring and dull pairing. So if someone tells you, "I live in Boring," don't assume they're complaining. They might actually be having a pretty interesting time. 6. Hell, Michigan. Welcome to Hell, Michigan. Yes, it's real. And surprisingly, there's no terrifying story behind the name. Hell is an unincorporated community located in Livingston County, Michigan. There are several stories about how the name originated. One popular story involves an early settler and a traveler who was asked what the local community should be called. The response was reportedly something along the lines of, "I don't care. You can name it Hell for all I care." And the name stuck. Another story connects the name with early German settlers and the German word Hell, meaning bright or light. Whatever the exact origin, the community eventually became famous for its unusual name. Today, visitors can find businesses and attractions that playfully embrace the theme. You can even visit Hell and tell your friends, "I've been to Hell." And technically, you'd be telling the truth. 5. Why Arizona? Now we're heading to Arizona. And this time, we're asking one very simple question.
Why?
That's because there's a community called Y, Arizona. The name reportedly came from a highway intersection in the area. Originally, the intersection was shaped like a Y, but Arizona naming rules required place names to have more than one letter. So instead of simply calling it Y, officials reportedly used the phonetic version.
Why?
And that's how a place ended up with a name that sounds like a philosophical question. Imagine giving someone directions. Where are you going? Why? No, seriously. Where? Why? It's the kind of conversation that could drive anyone crazy. Y is located in the southern Arizona desert, not far from the Mexican border. So, if you ever find yourself there, remember, you're not asking a question. You're actually at Y. 4. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. If Y wasn't confusing enough, let's visit a place with an entire sentence as its name. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Originally, the town had a much more ordinary name, Hot Springs. Then something unusual happened. In 1950, a popular television game show called Truth or Consequences celebrated its 10th anniversary. The show's host announced that if a town was willing to rename itself after the program, the show would broadcast from there. The residents of Hot Springs agreed, and the town officially changed its name to Truth or Consequences. It became one of the most unusual municipal names in America. Even today, the name sounds less like a location and more like a warning. Where are you headed? Truth or Consequences? Is that a town? Yes. Are you sure? Absolutely. 3. Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Now we come to a name that gets a lot of attention from tourists. Intercourse, Pennsylvania. The community is located in Lancaster County, in the heart of Pennsylvania Dutch country. And no, the name wasn't originally intended to have the modern meaning many people associate with the word. The word intercourse historically had broader meanings, including interaction, communication, and fellowship between people. There are several theories about how the community got its name. One explanation connects it to the idea of interaction among travelers and residents at an important crossroads. Today, Intercourse is a popular tourist destination, particularly because of its Amish and Pennsylvania Dutch heritage. And, of course, the unusual name has become part of the town's identity. Visitors can buy souvenirs, take photographs with the town sign, and inevitably send the picture to their friends. Because if you saw a road sign saying, Intercourse, next exit, you'd probably take a picture too. 2. Blue Ball, Pennsylvania. And just a short distance away, we find another name that sounds like it was created as a joke. Blue Ball, Pennsylvania. Yes, that's the actual name of a community in Lancaster County. The name reportedly comes from an old tavern that displayed a blue ball as its sign. Before modern advertising and giant business signs, taverns and inns often used symbols to identify themselves. That blue ball eventually became associated with the surrounding community. And today, Blue Ball is one of those American place names that people remember immediately. It's also located in the same general region as Intercourse and another famous community called Bird in Hand. So, imagine telling someone you're taking a road trip through Pennsylvania and saying, I'm going from Blue Ball to Intercourse, then over to Bird in Hand. They might think you're making the whole thing up. You're not. 1. Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. And finally, we arrive at number 1. Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. Yes, there is actually a place called Bird in Hand. The community is also located in Lancaster County and has a history dating back to the 18th century. The name is traditionally associated with the old proverb, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. One popular story says that the name came from a conversation involving two surveyors or travelers who were deciding what to call an inn or the area. Whether every detail of the story is historically certain is debated, but the name survived. And today, Bird in Hand is a well-known tourist community in Pennsylvania Dutch country. So, let's look at the 3 names we've just visited. Blue Ball, Intercourse, Bird in Hand, all within the same region. That's not a Hollywood script. That's Pennsylvania. America is full of strange, funny, confusing, and sometimes completely unbelievable place names. And behind almost every unusual name is a story, sometimes historical, sometimes accidental, and sometimes based on nothing more than a joke that somehow lasted for centuries. From Why, Arizona, to Hell, Michigan, from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, to Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. These names prove that American geography can be just as entertaining as American history. Which of these towns would you actually visit? And if you know another American town with an even stranger name, tell us in the comments, because there are plenty more where these came from.